Okay guys, I'm going to show you how to replace the legs in a frog. So the first thing you want to do is go in the kitchen and get an egg beater out of the drawer, preferably an old one, like this one here. Just don't let your wife see. Well, take that back. We're going to put that back. The good news is I already had one made. So basically I took an old egg beater and I cut a piece of wire off of it and I just bent it over with about an inch or so to spare at one end. Okay, so the reason why you want the egg beater wire is it's durable. You don't want one that's always going to bend and stay bent. So, it's very flexible. So this one's really durable and it'll hold up for use for a long time. So I've had this one for probably 5 years now, maybe longer. Okay, so I took the legs out of the frog. Didn't need to show you that. There's the hollow body frog now. And so now we're going to pick the colors of our legs. This wasn't really an old leg. I just don't like this color in the orange frog. So I'll show you the next step now. All right, so I keep a bag of living rubber skirts, and I think on the orange frog I'm going to go with an orange color, maybe a little bit of red, and maybe we'll mix in a little bit of, I got a lot of red here apparently, a lot of red. All right, so we'll take the red, and we have the orange, and then I think maybe just mix in a little bit of black. So now what you want to do is you want to get your colors that you want to mix in, and you cut them about 8 inches long. 2 inches longer than a dollar bill. You want to give yourself plenty of living rubber to work with when you get towards the end. The first one I did in black, I did about a 1/4 inch in width total. The orange, I'll probably do about the same, about a 1/4 inch in width. And I'll cut that again at about 8 inches. And then the red, we'll do just a little tiny bit. I call it red. It's actually more of a hot pink, but the package said red. And much to my disappointment, it wasn't really a true blood red. Anyhow, we're gonna go hot pink. So now you can see that I have the 3 colors put together like that. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna take it and tie an overhand knot right down the middle. So you do this because you don't want the legs falling out of the frog when that little bluegill grabs one end of your frog leg and pulls really hard, and you set the hook, and next thing you know you have no legs. So pull the knot and keep pulling on it each direction until the knot's pretty small. You don't want a big knot because when you try to go through that little hole in the frog leg, you're gonna have problems. Okay, so now we got a nice little knot. We've got about a 1/4 inch of orange, 1/4 inch of black, and maybe an 1/8 inch of the hot pink. So now you want to take that little wire thing I showed you, and you want to hook it into your living rubber skirt so that the skirt kind of pinches in there, right? Okay, so it's pinched in there, you can see. Now I'm going to take the single end and go back through the frog, in one side, out the other, and then pinch the wires together so they go through that second wire, the one that's still folded, and it'll come right on out the other side. In theory. Some frogs are easier than others. Now that you got it through there, I'll typically wet that a little bit and then just pull it on through the frog. Just like this, and you can see I'm pulling it through the frog and out the other side, right? So you end up like that. Now just disconnect it from the wire, right? So you end up like this with your frog. Now you just want to, again, wet it a little bit and just pull it through. And sometimes you got to pull it from each end to kind of keep it straight. Right, now you can see that I've got to the knot. Wet that really good. You can put a little soap on there if you want, that'll help. And then just pull the knot through. That's going to be your hardest part. And make sure you're grabbing all the living rubber, otherwise you'll snap them. So grab it as a whole and get that knot in there. Again, it's not easy. The knot part's the hardest part. That's why I said you want to make sure at the one end you get a really good tight knot so you're not battling against it. So we'll just pull that knot through. And don't pull it too hard because I've had it come all the way out the other end too. And that'll make you drop a few cuss words. All right, you heard it snap in there. So now we've got the knot inside the frog. And we're at this stage, right? All right, now comes the last stage, which I think and I would assume most of you guys know if you tie living rubber jigs. that the easiest way to split living rubber is pinch it really tight with about 1/4 of an inch up and just start pulling, letting go, pulling, let go, pull, let go. And they'll start spreading apart like that. And then you just grab them, pull them down, individual at a time. You get two stuck together, just take your fingernails, split them together, and you can just start splitting them. This is the long, tedious process. And because that is a long, tedious process, I always recommend pouring a glass of wine, if you're of age. If you're not of age, grab a Coca-Cola or something. But glass of wine makes splitting the living rubber skirts much easier. So anyhow, just follow that process of pulling them and letting it go. That just helps split them at the end. And then just grab each individual one, pull it all the way down to the frog. Then when we're done, we'll trim it up. Okay, so I've spared you most of the time of me splitting the living rubber, but I'm pulling it apart like that, grabbing each one, pulling it down, all the way down to the base of the frog to make sure that we end up with a good leg. So now you have the new frog legs. So the only thing you lack now is just to do the trimming part of it. The one thing I'd recommend is you can use any kind of wire. Like I said, you don't want one that's too pliable. The egg beater wire works good provided they're thin wires. Some egg beater wire is just way too thick, and you really want a good thin wire. You can probably go to the thrift store and get one real cheap, or Walmart. So now we got the legs like that. Just doing final trim and end up with the perfect frog with better colored legs than what came on. So I don't know what kind of frog fisherman most of you are. I've been fishing them for years. I typically like one leg to be a little bit longer than the other. That helps it walk a little easier, so that when you pause it like that, it'll tend to pull one way, so that when you twitch it, it'll swing all the way the other way. So that's my recommendation. Not that you asked for that, but so anyhow, you end up with a pretty good frog. One leg just a little bit shorter than the other, and much better color. Hope you guys can benefit from that.